Welcome back to the New Little Life channel. If you're new here, my name is Allison Tolman. I'm an IBCLC and a breast pump expert. And today we're going to be talking through the Motif Roam. This pump has been out for a little while now, but I think it's good to talk through because I am seeing it come up a lot on insurance lists. And I know from talking to a lot of moms who are trying to choose a breast pump, anytime there's a pump that's like little to no upgrade cost that also comes with cups, people like go crazy about it and they're like, oh, I want one with cups because that's so much better. So let's actually talk about this pump to see if it's a good choice for you. If you already have this pump and you're trying to figure out how to use it as well, this video will also help you with that. We have a lot of resources for you on choosing and using breast pumps. Those are going to all be down in the description for you. If you're still looking to choose a breast pump, we've got a great quiz and a great free course on how to choose a breast pump. If you have a pump and you're trying to protect your milk supply or build your supply or fix your supply with your breast pump, there are some courses down below as well on pumping efficiently, mastering your milk supply with a breast pump, and if you're going to be a working mom heading back to work as well. I highly recommend you check those out once you do have a pump so that you can learn how to use it as efficiently as possible. All right, let's dive into this pump. I actually saw an NCVI pump that looks really, really similar to this, and people really liked that pump. It was cheap. It was like $30 to $50. Also came with cups. The cups worked really well. So I was interested because it looks exactly the same. It's not exactly the same, but let's check it out. This one is a lot more expensive. I think the price tag is like $189 maybe on their website, which is a big difference from $30 to $50, right? The thing about Motif is they really specialize in making pumps that are affordable for DME companies and insurances to cover and sell. So you will see Motif pumps on a lot of insurance lists. I actually think they might be affiliated with Aeroflow even, which is a direct medical equipment company. Again, that's like what their pumps are designed for. Okay, so just keep that in mind. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but there are not very many Motif pumps that I would pay retail price for, if that makes sense. Sometimes the prices, in my opinion, are a little high, but a lot of times you can get them for free from your insurance. So that's the thing. Okay, so let's start with the cups and then we'll dive into the pump. All right, Motif has made some cups before, which were okay, but these ones are actually pretty nice. I actually really do like these. My only caution here is not anything to do with this cup from Motif in particular, but cups are different than a traditional flange. They are inherently harder to use and usually less efficient. It's just because of the design, all right? Not like this cup is fine, but cups in general. So anytime I see a mom who's a first-time pumper or a new mom, or they have their supply is struggling and they're trying to fix it, and they come to me with like, hey, what do you think about this pump with the cups? I'm like, pump aside, cups are harder to use, okay? So if you have no experience pumping, don't start with a cup. It is so much harder and it is less efficient. For one, anytime you put this in a bra, let's just do that, you have some level of compression, okay? So you're compressing milk ducts. It's harder to get milk out. You also can't see. So flange sizing and nipple alignment is really, really important in all of pumping. We actually teach you how to do self-flange sizing because you're going to need that skill more than once inside of our Pumping Efficiently course, which is one of our most loved modules in there. But it's really hard with a cup because you can't see. So if you have not figured out your flange size and what works best for you and how your letdowns respond and how to pump more quickly with a traditional flange that's so much easier, doing it with a cup is very challenging. You also have to have a really good bra fit because there's already compression at the breast. So you want a bra that holds the pump in place because we don't want it slipping around, right? The nipple alignment needs to be right on, but you also don't want it too tight that it's compressing everything and just making milk harder. So this is my soapbox on cups, I guess. Cups in general are more challenging, all right? And we have lots of videos on the channel talking about wearable pumps. It's a very similar concept. It doesn't usually have much to do with the motor or the programming or the speeds or something or anything like that. It is the flange style. And in this case, it's a cup. Anytime moms come to me with a pump that comes with a cup, I'm like, oh, do you know what you're doing? Do you really understand how a breast pump works best for you and your body? Do you understand the fundamentals of pumping? That's what we teach in our Pumping Efficiently course, literally fundamentals and how to adapt it to your own body. Anyway, there's my rant on cups. Otherwise, this cup from Motif is actually nice. So I don't have a problem with the cups. The tubing goes off to the side, which is pretty nice. So if you were using both cups, I'd probably route them inside. You can even route this tubing under your shirt and then out the bottom with the cup. It does have some ridges on the bottom that make it easy for standing on the table. Pretty standard stuff in here. You've got your backflow protector. That replacement is going to need to come from Motif. And by the way, currently Motif is really only selling like the whole kit as a replacement. You still can't get the individual parts. So it's not that expensive. It's like 30 bucks or something, but it comes with a bunch of inserts and things like that. You don't need all the everything every time. So it's kind of like a waste for me of money, but whatever. It is kind of the most profitable way to do replacement parts. So you're gonna hook that on the top there and then snap it in. It's the way to get the most money if you want to replace things, especially if you're using a DME company. So anyway, there's that. Otherwise, the cups function pretty well. It says on the side that it'll hold 5 ounces or 150 milliliters. I bet it will hold a little bit more than that. And then you pour it out to the top. So nothing super fancy there. Let's talk through the pump. It does come with an optional lanyard. You can take it off if you want. But if you're using the cups with this pump, being able to hang it around your neck actually is a pretty nice feature. Oh, sorry. One more note on the cup before we move on. This is a size not 24. I'm guessing 28 because it doesn't fit any of my 24 equipment. And it came with a flange insert that looks like a size 24. So this is going to require probably the inserts from Motif because this is a non-standard size. It's a size 28. They did go down pretty small. Like there's a pretty small insert there. They are unfortunately, oh no, wait, they are labeled 16. Okay. So it came with a 16. It's just really hard to see, but that's fine. I don't feel like they fit super well in there. Like I can push them in too far and then they get all bunchy. Not that they don't fit, like they fit, but they just don't sit flush. Does that make sense? Whatever. But you are going to have to use the inserts from Motif because this is a non-standard size. Okay, so the programming of the pump is not my favorite. If I can just say that right off the bat. If you have this pump and you're learning to use it, you definitely can. And I talk about that with my clients all the time is we can almost always make things work with the pump that you have, even if it is a low quality pump. It all comes down to the fundamentals of pumping and really learning how to apply them to yourself individually, like what your breasts respond to, sizing, schedules, milk capacity, letdowns, what triggers those fast and efficiently, the settings that work best, techniques, and then, your hormones, mental and emotional aspects that go into pumping. So we can almost always make the pump you have work. I think there's only been a handful of times that I've recommended to a client or a student that they get a new pump because the pump was like an actual problem. Okay, this pump has 4 modes. So it's got massage mode or stimulation mode, the same thing there. My issue with massage mode on this pump is that it's very slow. All right, I'll put a graph up here for you. There are 2 things actually that are issues here. One, it is very, very slow. So it's 84 on level 1, which is a fine cycle speed. But then when you go to level 2, it slows to 64. Okay. When you go to level 3, sorry, now it's at 56. If you're going to go up to suction level 4, which is not that high of suction, it's 100 over 100, 48. And then it goes all the way down to 42, 44. That is really, really slow in stimulation mode. And it drops really quickly. Not my favorite, right? Typically in stimulation or massage mode, as it's called on this pump, we like to see faster cycle speeds. That's how moms usually respond to a letdown. So definitely very slow. Okay, so massage mode here. And then the next mode that it goes into is expression mode. It's a single little drop. These cycles are very slow. So if I said those ones were very slow, these ones are very slow. It starts on 44 and quickly goes down from there. So it's not that the suction is an issue. Actually, the suction is great on this pump. I don't have any issues with the suction levels. It's more the speed, but also the pattern. So I'm going to put a pattern here for you in expression mode. And it does something very similar in stimulation mode, which I absolutely hate. And it's this giant break between the suctions. Does that make sense? So you've got a suction and then a break. and then a suction and then a break. That's one reason why it's so slow, but also a lot of moms don't like those breaks. We've seen that on other pumps. The Super Genie is one that comes to mind. I really like the Genie Advanced. The Super Genie does the same thing. The Spectra Synergy Gold, the compact gold of Spectra, also does something similar, and I hate it. And moms hate it too. They don't like hate it, but it's very disruptive, and your breast is not under suction very long. So not only does it feel kind of jarring to do that, but your breast isn't under suction as long, so it can take longer to get the milk out, if that makes sense. Both massage, sorry, they call it massage mode. Both massage mode and expression mode on this pump do that, and it's not my favorite. And they are super slow. So let's turn it up to like level 4, which is like a really normal suction, like low range even, because there's 9 levels. This is kind of the pattern that you're getting. Again, you've got those breaks in between, and it's just slow. Okay, so we're in expression mode. Let's go to the next mode, which is cluster feeding. Okay, and I've been trying to figure out what this mode does, so because it's not super intuitive. Here's what it says though in the manual, which is fine. I never read the manuals on videos because that's lame, but like we need to figure out what this mode does. So it has 2 specialized modes: cluster feeding mode, which is what we're going to explore first, and then general pumping. So cluster feed, under these specialized ones, it said that they were designed by a lactation professional to maximize milk collection and minimize the time spent adjusting pump settings. So, okay, there you go. I don't know. If I would have designed it, I would have designed it much different. But again, I don't know everything. So cluster feeding mode is mini power pumping mode that imitates a newborn's cluster feeding to help boost milk supply. Cluster feeding naturally occurs when a baby breastfeeds multiple times within a short period of time, only taking quick breaks, signaling the body to produce more milk. That is true that's what cluster feeding is. Within each level, this mode produces 3 pumping steps with pauses of low suction in between. That's all it says. So I don't know what any of that means. And I've run this pump. I ran it for about 6 or 7 minutes in this mode, cluster feeding mode. And actually the pattern in this mode, I'll put it up here for you right now, is better. There are less breaks in between the suctions. So I like it much better. After 6 or 7 minutes, it did switch. It kind of sounded like it went back to like a massage mode, but again, it didn't have the breaks in between suction patterns. I don't know why you would start in 6 minutes of expression mode and then go into a stimulation mode. Again, I haven't let this pump run and watched it for 30 minutes because that's annoying. And you can't move it along. Like it's just going to do what it's going to do. So I don't know what it would do after that, but the pattern was better. Again, though, I'm not sure. I'm just not sure. Let's just go there. So is it going to be like normal cluster feeding with a baby? Not at all, but it is something different. I did like the pattern. So after cluster feeding mode is general pumping mode. And this mode, I don't know. I actually liked the cycle speeds in this mode better. It was faster. Okay. It does go down pretty quickly. So let's go to suction level 4. There are 9 levels in this mode. It does have those breaks again. Okay, so general pumping mode is basically going to go, it's going to auto go between stimulation mode and expression mode for you. I keep calling it stimulation mode because that's kind of what it is, but this pump calls it massage. Stimulation, massage mode, same thing. It begins in massage mode and switches to expression after 2 minutes. This repeats twice for 2 letdowns. Okay, so basically it's just going to go back and forth. It's going to do 2 minutes of stimulation and then go into expression and then go back to the massage. Stimulation, massage. The idea there, I actually don't mind it when pumps do that. And the concept behind it is dynamite. And we teach this in our courses all the time. You need more than 1 letdown in a pumping session. Ideally 3, 4. I would love that even. And to trigger them, a lot of times you can go back into stimulation mode. Maybe not this stimulation mode, just to be fair. But a lot of times there's more to it than that too. It's kind of an intentional process. But I love the concept of pumps reinforcing this idea that we need multiple letdowns in a pumping session. That is absolutely true. So as far as this pump goes, it is quiet, it is lightweight, and the cups are actually pretty good. Other than that, there's not a lot else that I enjoy about it. I actually might test these cups with some other pumps because I think the cups are quite nice as far as cups go. Again, you can plug in double pumping down at the bottom. We've just been doing single pumping for this demonstration. The motor and the programming, not exactly my favorite. I wish they had done things a little bit differently and at least paid attention to some of the other things that moms are not liking on a few other pumps and then not like done that again. So I do think on the NCVI pump that I showed you earlier, that one had alternating suction. So it would be like left, right, which is pretty cool. This one does not have that. It's definitely synced together, which is more standard for most pumps out there. But if it had had alternating, maybe that would have been something unique to be cool. The Zomi Z2 also does that, kind of has alternating, and the Unimom Opera has that option. You can sync them together or you can go alternating, which is kind of cool. Some moms really like that, some moms don't. But anyway, I would probably never, ever, ever pay retail price for this pump at $189. But if it is a free option on your insurance, sometimes the tricky thing with like insurance and DME companies is sometimes you're picking from kind of the bottom of the barrel of pumps on the market. So I wouldn't put this one at the very, very bottom because Motif is a good company. Like they do make stuff that typically works. However, you might be able to use your insurance benefit on a pump that's a little better. But like I said, sometimes a pump like this might be the best option of the list you're looking at. I definitely wouldn't get it just because it comes with cups, which is what I see a lot of moms doing. Cups are harder to use. So unless that's specifically what you're looking for, again, it depends on what are on these lists. And actually I do lives every once in a while inside of our free course on choosing a breast pump where you can come and ask me questions and I can help you choose. So those are kind of fun. Anyway, there you go. Motif Roam. If you have questions, if you've used this pump before, if you like it, if you don't like it, leave us a comment down below. I would love to hear from you. And it really helps to have user reviews and actual experience down in the bottom. Like I can test it myself. I can look up reviews and I can kind of compile it all here together for you, give you some more of the data. But I really love hearing your experience with it and tell me what you think. All right, again, check the description for more resources to help you pump more milk in less time. Good luck and happy pumping.